Tell us about the cheese, man. We want to hear about the cheese.
All right. Welcome, everybody, back to the Fitz and Franson show. These are the episodes Fitz and I like the most. They're the episodes where we get to have a guest on the show. We get to hear some of the stuff we ramble on and on and on about from somebody else's perspective. And so today we actually have somebody that's in-house. We have Bill Fay with us. He's an account manager here at Powrful Media, and he has been here since the dawn of time. He was employee number 2 here, and he started out at Powrful Media before I even showed up on the scene and started wreaking havoc. So, Bill, why don't you jump in and share a little bit with our listeners about what you do at Powrful and what else?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's good to be on the show. Yeah, I've kind of morphed throughout the years now. What I do with Powrful is an account manager, but really what that means, yes, there's a lot of number crunching and analytical behind the scenes stuff, but really what it comes down to is relationships with our clients, talking through marketing strategy with them, keeping them in tune to what we're doing. At the end of the day, our company tries to fill their calendar with consultation appointments, and it all starts with putting the ads out. So that's a big part of what I do is running the ads and talking through it with our clients. It's, communication is probably priority number 1. With what I do, it's a lot of talking my way out of things sometimes, but as long as that relationship stays good and, we're transparent and honest with our clients, it's big. But yeah, I mean, it's been a wild ride over the last almost 6 years now. When I started with the company, it was 2020. My first day was 2 days before the state of Minnesota shut down due to COVID. It actually turned out to be kind of a blessing because what were people doing during COVID?
Yeah.
Scrolling. And where were we on Facebook? That's a big priority of what we do is run Facebook and social media ads. So yeah, it started off hot, and like I said, things have changed a lot over the last 6 years, but the communication has stayed the same, building relationships. That's something that's hopefully never going to change.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of the things that I've really liked about the Powrful Media is we're a high-touch company, and we make sure we're accessible. I mean, sometimes to our detriment, 7 days a week, we get a random text on a Saturday night. It's like, what the heck's going on? We're like, yeah, oh no, I'll help you out. Definitely had my share of those over the years.
Mm-hmm. And I've had a few where I'm sitting on a back patio at a friend's house, whether it's enjoying a beverage or you just shooting the breeze or awaiting the weekend, and all of a sudden the text message comes through. Lo and behold, the person on the other end is doing the same thing. But in our clients' minds, when it pops up, when they're thinking about it, that's the time to bring it up.
Yep. Well, today we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what you've seen over the last couple of years, and maybe more specifically this year in marketing. Powrful Media, we do run Google ads and we run Facebook ads, but the majority of what we do for our customers is manage their social media accounts. Bill, kind of top of mind, what's maybe the top 1 or 2 things that you've seen happen in 2025 that's worth noting?
The biggest thing is, and I mean, it's not just specifically 2025. It's kind of been a gradual over the last 5 years, but a lot more recently. The amount of competition that's out there, specifically in the home improvement industry, has increased exponentially. It used to be like in 2020, we used to be able to put, just as a round number, $500 behind a Facebook post for 4 to 5 days, and we could fill a calendar with consultation appointments. Well, now there's so many other companies out there doing either the same thing or similar things to what we're doing that just doesn't cut it anymore. So yes, it's a little bit more expensive in that realm, but also you have to get a little bit more creative in what you're doing. So with that competition comes, all right, how do I beat the competition, whether my budget is super low, average, or above average? So from my end, the biggest thing is really looking at the analytics even closer than we ever have before, ensuring that if something is falling behind or something is not working well, that we address it. But if something's working really well, it's okay. Now, how can we implement that across the board? One of the biggest things that I've found success in is a diversification of ads. Really making sure that there's, whether it's videos, photos, scrollable carousels, collages, things, just really anything you can think of that would appeal to someone. You throw it out there and test it. Now, that's been a part of marketing since the beginning of marketing, but I do think it's even more crucial now to throw everything against the wall, see what sticks, and then figure out how to capitalize on it. So, and I like I said, I think all of it boils down to competition. 2025 has come with increases at the grocery store. your eggs and your ground beef are more expensive than they were 2 years ago. That same thing is happening digitally as well. Your Facebook ads are just going to cost a little bit more than they used to. At a certain point, you have to swallow that, but there are ways to tinker with the creative, find new ways to approach people and present to people, and really maintaining your status as top of mind company against your competition.
Yeah. So what are a couple of the creatives you've seen that maybe were a bit of a surprise this year that, I mean, we've spent millions on Facebook and we've tried probably thousands of creative pieces, or if not tens of thousands of creative pieces over the years. Give me some insight on what you're seeing work right now.
It's funny because I've gotten to the point where I don't get surprised anymore. It was 2021, 2022. It was a simple picture of a patio that was coated with a Pentec coating and a grill with a nice counter around it. Nothing special, typical looking backyard grilling area. And we could put that, it seemed like, on any ad that we ran and it would have success. So in terms of what surprises me, I don't think anything surprises me anymore. There are things that I love that I think are aesthetically pleasing. I think they're going to do great and they flop. And there are things that are, I don't really understand this. And then you put it out on Facebook because test everything. And that turns out to be the best performing ad that you run. But it's not any one specific thing that stands out. I think it's more meeting people where they want to be met. Some people want to have a 15-second video. Some people want to have a 2-minute long educational video. Some people just want to look at pictures. Some people want those pictures to be flashy with cartoons on them. So really putting as much as you can out there that while still remaining relevant to what you're doing and relevant to your brand, I think is more important than any one specific thing. So I doesn't really answer your question, but like I said, it's really hard to surprise me at this point because nothing is shocking, good, bad, or anywhere in between. Having been in this social media world for as long as I have been, I don't get surprised by anything with Facebook anymore.
Yeah, sure. So we're in the business of lead generation, and like you said, booking those consultations, those free appointments. And so when you think about lead generation, what do you feel like are the most effective ways for us to actually get those appointments? Is it messaging? Is it the type of ad? Is it the type of campaign? Is it the promotion? Like, what do you see out there?
Yeah, when it comes down to the actual ads themselves, I don't know that there's ones. Again, it's all like I feel like I keep coming back to the same well. Just do everything, and pay attention to what's happening. If you go on Facebook and you run a campaign to drive people to Messenger alongside a campaign to drive people to fill out a form to receive a phone call, look and see where you're having better results. How many of those leads came in, turned into appointments versus how many of those messaging conversations turn into appointments. And, just figuring out at the end of the day, maybe it's more expensive to do one over the other, but if the expensive one is what's getting your calendar full, then it's worth paying a few extra bucks on Facebook to get those conversions. But I think a big thing is having an effective process. It's not about necessarily the types of ads or campaigns that go out. It's figuring out what people are going to respond to and then having a conversation with them, matching the energy of the people on the other side of the conversation. This is something that we talk with our team about all the time. It's when you have a conversation with people, match their energy, and if they have a new house, be excited about it with them. If they are being short, blunt, it's okay just to be, all right, we're going to go through our process and get you to an appointment. If somebody wants to jump right into an appointment. So it's more about the relationship for me when we're, with our goal being to get people on the calendar and get our clients an opportunity to go out and see them to sell their product, not to diminish the marketing side of it because that's the world I live in. But it's, like I said, put everything out there because until you have boots on the ground and have the data to take a real look at what you're doing, it's almost impossible to predict exactly what's going to work. We can have a sort of guideline and we can use historical data to predict what we think is going to happen, but it's not quite the wild west, but it's pretty close in terms of trying to predict what's going to be next. It's more about if you get too far ahead, you're not seeing the forest for the trees.
Yeah. Well, and I got a great question for you too to jump in here. You're talking about competition has increased, cost of marketing, cost of doing business has increased. We have a lot of conversations with our customers about what what we see their account costing them. And so what do you think is a big misconception that our customers have about their marketing budget? And how do you help them shift that mindset?
Yeah, it's not exclusive to the industry that we're in. When any company needs to make budget cuts, what's the first thing they look at almost exclusively? The marketing budget. We can cut the marketing budget. That's going to help us save money. Okay, well, where is your next customer coming from? Word of mouth customers, referral customers, they are some of the highest quality customers you're going to get because they trust the people that told them about you. But the volume's not going to be there. So our owner actually has broken it down several times for us. If you have a client who's analytical and they look at the numbers and they're really, really looking at the cost, start talking them through it, breaking it down with them. All right, so this is what it costs to get a lead. How many of those leads are you converting? All right, so this is what it costs to get you an appointment. And now look at all of the different lead sources they have, all of the different marketing sources they have, kind of reverse engineering how much it's worth to actually get that lead. And one thing that I get from most of the clients that I meet with is, what are you seeing with your other clients? My favorite thing to tell people is, you're way less expensive. But for as many as are way less expensive, somebody's got to be the most expensive. So just, it's really like, it goes back to one of the first things I said. It's about building a relationship, building that trust. Even if we're having a bad week or a bad 6 weeks, the trust that's been instilled with our clients is very, very helpful. And I think just continuing to prove to them that we're on the same team, because without them, there is no us. So I am just as invested in reducing your cost per appointment as you are in wanting to pay less for each appointment. So I think it comes down to transparency. It comes down to talking them through, all right, so what happens if you stop marketing on Facebook? How many leads do you lose? How many appointments do you use? And where does that put you? Is it worth, if you're spending $1,000 a week on Facebook and you're getting 15 appointments and converting 5 of them? I know those are actually pretty good numbers, but just
quick math. Those are good numbers.
Yeah. It's kind of just showing them the whole picture and being like, okay, now take away that from your budget, but what is the revenue and the profit you're losing from that budget? So it's not always going to be ducks and bunnies. It's not always going to be pretty. If you can get through those more tumultuous times, when the getting is good, it's going to feel even better.
Sure. So we have, we obviously have a lot of listeners that are in the Pentech world, but we have a few that are outside of that world as well too. You've mentioned a lot about trust and transparency, which are really great words, but there are, thousands of people that do what we do at Powrful. If you were to express to some of those people that haven't maybe explored working with us on the marketing side, what do you think it is that sets us apart from those other opportunities that might be out there when it comes to who they would trust with their marketing dollars to help them generate those leads and opportunities for their salespeople?
Besides me?
Yeah, well, definitely besides the ace up our sleeve that is Bill.
That's right.
It's actually not far off from what my answer would be, and is that we found a good way to utilizing some of the artificial intelligence and automations, but still keep the human element. That was the first thing I was told when I started with Powrful. We want to do this with real humans. We want people on the other side of the conversation to know who they're talking to. We use first names when we're having conversations with potential customers, and that's a big reason for it. But for the clients specifically, it's a communication thing. Well, there have been a lot of clients that come to us, and during onboarding meetings, we'll just set up a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly visit right there. And you see, we'll hear it all the time. Bill, the last company I was with, the cost wasn't awful, but I could never get a hold of anybody. So that's something that we always want to guarantee our clients, is that there's going to be somebody on the other side of the phone when you call, or there's going to be an opportunity to talk to, whether it's me, another one of our team members, whoever's handling the account. There's going to be somebody on the other end, not only working with you and fighting for you and your brand, but also somebody who's going to be there to pick up the phone and have those conversations and talk through you with things, somebody that is reliable. So I think that's the biggest thing. Now, I'm sure there's other companies that are out there who will say that, but I'm just talking from my experience. A lot of what has kept our longer term clients for as long as we have is because we've been open, honest, communicative, and we're somebody who's not going to either ghost or diminish the communication over time.
Sure. No, I know, speaking from previous experience, obviously I was at one point a customer with you guys and worked directly with you, Bill and Jay. And I think one of the strengths too was that you guys fit into what we needed and worked with us. You have your processes and your systems, but you ran alongside what we do and adjusted to fit into what we needed to make it work as well too. So that was a huge win for us, that we didn't have to plan workarounds in our system to make it work for you. And work with you, kind of thing. So that was a big deal for us. So that's a huge win, and that goes to that trust and transparency. You were an extension of our team, which was great. When it comes to looking at the spend, right, and what to spend, it's a scary thing in marketing, because it really is a gamble. I'm going to put a lot of money out there with really no guarantees. And Jay and I have talked about this, where I can be doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing and not necessarily seeing the return. One of the things I enjoyed about working with you guys is you were very honest with me about, hey, if I spent more, would I get more? You guys would tell me flat out, like, no, probably not, right? Or, yeah, probably in this area, but you don't need to spend that much. Because I think at one point I came to you and go, I got, a couple extra thousand, would that help? That, be nice for us to get, but we're not going to take all of that from you. How do you make that determination? I'm a big dumb meathead sales guy, so you got to help me understand how you make that determination.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is looking, especially with newer clients, and if it's a month in and they say, all right, am I spending enough? Am I not spending enough? It's looking at the data. It's looking at, all right, how much were we able to get for your dollar? And break it down as simply as possible and do the math. All right, if we spent $500 more, it would get us this many more conversations or this many more leads. And right now we're converting at this rate. Okay, if we look at it in black and white, if you spend $500 more, it will get you X. But other things that we look at are what happened last year, not necessarily how much did an appointment cost last year at this time, or how many appointments were we getting, because it's different. Year to year is different, but we can look at trends. All right, in March, April last year, it was doing this. Maybe it's not the same number as this year, but that's the trend it was following. And lo and behold, we start seeing an increase then this year. And now we get to Q4. There is snow being dumped all over our northern climate. And this is typically where we see your dollar not quite go quite as far. So it's kind of a mix of a lot of different things. And we can look across our client base and see too. All right, we have 6 clients in the Southwest, and they perform differently than the clients in the Northeast. So we're going to look and compare your numbers to what we're seeing with your neighbor. All right, so it's a lot of different things that go into it. Really, what it comes down to is figuring out, okay, is it going to make sense to spend an extra $500 this week? Well, last year's data shows us yes. Or there's 2 clients who just increased their spend and it scaled. So, that part of it tells me yes as well. It seems like every answer is, there's a lot of things that go into it, and we're not going to know for sure until we test it. But like I say, it's a puzzle.
It's
always
seems like an
puzzle.
educated. Sure.
Yeah.
But it still seems like an educated guess. And one of the things that Jay and I are always preaching is, you're not flying by the seat of your pants. You're making data-driven decisions. And at the end of the day, if we on the dealer side hear that out, and you're giving me logical reasons as to why or why not, based off of this is what we're seeing and this is what the data is telling us, then if it works or it doesn't work, we can at least live with the idea that we've made a decision based off of reasonable, information. And that, I think, is better than, unfortunately, what we find from a lot of marketing companies out there, which is, well, if you spend more, you get more, right? Which means that really at the end of the day, what's guaranteed there is, if I spend more, you definitely get more and I might get more. And, that's unfortunately far too common in our world.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned a couple of times there that, we work with clients, all across the country, even in Hawaii, which I'm still hoping to find a way to get us a trip out there to help out, even if it's just driving a truck for them at some point. But with regard to the spend, obviously there might be some differences in the seasonality of when you spend in the South versus the North. That makes sense to me. Is there anything that we've noticed with the difference in the type of ads that we put out from one region to the other? Like, what pictures work better in some areas versus others? Or is that, something that's totally different or the same regardless of where you're at?
I'm not going to put an ad with palm trees in New York City because it's not about necessarily how pretty the picture looks or, you know, this type of video versus that. Sometimes all it comes down to is being genuine. And we've noticed that a lot, specifically with concrete coatings, is a good way to stop the scroll when people are on Facebook or on Instagram is to show them a high quality photo of a garage that looks like theirs. I want garages in Florida to look like a garage in Florida. I want garages in Boston to look like a garage in Boston. There's a space for everything on social media, but I think the biggest thing for me is, like I said, making sure there's some of everything out there, but a good majority of what we do revolves around being genuine and making it look natural. We don't want, like, it's a Facebook ad, but we don't want to come across as being salesy and too addy, you know, with a product like this. And part of that is because with, you know, it luxury home improvements is kind of a way I phrase it. It's not necessarily about how good the ad looks because the product speaks for itself. It's about making sure that everything comes across a person's feed as looking natural and genuine. And my garage can look like that. It's not too flashy. And relating to the person's a long-winded way of saying there's not anything specific for any specific region. We just want it to look like where the person is at, and we want it to look like something that is attainable for their surface.
So one last question, I'll hand the mic back here to Jay, but I know, you know, for many years, Powrful's been known as the Facebook or social media company, but we do now more than that, right? We work on websites and more. So share with us a little bit more of kind of the product expansion offerings that we have. And then I guess too, what are some things that you would give as far as advice as to like, what's the best way to make sure you're aligned in those offerings if you're doing those things to maximize the impact that you get from having those things working together, so to speak, across all those platforms?
Yeah, so we Facebook has been, I would say, our bread and butter. That's what the company was when it started. It was Facebook oriented, Facebook based. We put out ads on Facebook and schedule appointments on Facebook. We have expanded to, obviously, Instagram was the first expansion, and it was easy because you just check another box and everything still comes to your Facebook, and everything is cross-posted and cross-advertised. Now we've moved more into the Google world over the past, I would say, 12 to 18 months, putting Google ads out there, search campaigns, Performance Max campaigns, and, running Google for our clients as well as building websites. We built some websites too. So I think the biggest thing for me is the ultimate goal is to be everywhere, because you don't know where your best customers are going to be. Maybe they are Facebook users. Maybe they would rather search Google. Maybe they're going to go to ChatGPT and research you. So the biggest reason I would say to, have us or even any company do all of it is because it puts all of the numbers in the same spot. We can see, we have access to everything. So when we have a client that does Facebook, Google, and website with us, we can see everything and we can know right away, all right, we're getting more for our dollar on Google right now. Let's shift some of the budget over there, or vice versa. It's kind of a, you don't want too many chefs in the kitchen sort of thing. If you're trying to mass produce a ton of food just to get it out for quantity's sake, all right, you can have a ton of people involved and put a ton of things in. But if you want the quality to be increased and you want to be the best, limiting the number of, moving parts is key. I think, just like I said, the more data I have to be able to represent our clients and run ads for them, the better. And by having us do Facebook, somebody else do Google, somebody else do SEO, another person is working on Nextdoor, like there's so many moving parts that it just leaves more room for gaps, whether it's in communication or ineffective spending. I don't know how this client's Google is performing because I can't get a hold of their guy who only has access to the ads, but this other guy has access to the SEO numbers. So it just makes it a little bit more difficult from a communication perspective. So yeah, I think you want to be everywhere, and if you can find someone who can do it all, it just makes more sense and leaves fewer room for gaps.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I would add to that, it's less about somebody being considered a Google expert, and it's more about them being an expert in your niche. Bill and I both have noticed over the years that the way you create and design an ad can be learned, but it's more important that you actually understand the customer that you're providing the service for. We've met with a lot of customers that are like, I hate talking to my website guy. They don't know what I do. I try and tell them that I'm a concrete coating company, and they put pictures up of, gravel and rebar, and they think that I pour concrete. They just don't know what I do. So I think that's a big deal. Like Bill said, find somebody that can do it all, because then the communication is simplified. Find somebody that knows what you do. It's very helpful.
Yeah, and that's something we run into before, both of us, Jay, is just we've had clients that stick with us because we know their industry, and it just like it all goes back to the relationship building. Even if, say, I'm not going to lie to you, our ads are more expensive sometimes. Like, we might cost a little bit more than this company, but there's going to be no question that we're on your team. We're here. We know your industry. We know what your goal you're trying to accomplish. And Jay, how many times have we even gone into like a Facebook or Google meeting and come out of it with like, that doesn't apply to us at all. We're not e-commerce. So just being able to bridge that gap between what best practices are for social media advertising and what is best for the home improvement industry that we're representing, I think is a big benefit to working with a company like ours.
Yeah. And funny side note, if you run your own Google ads and Google calls, don't answer the phone. Don't answer the phone if Google calls. They have
Unless you have
horrible
an hour
advice. Facebook too. We have a meta rep, and it took us a while to explain to him what we actually do. I definitely have noticed on these platforms, the majority of the money spent is e-commerce. It's not small businesses. It isn't lead gen. And so when experts, we're going to put them in quotes, say they're experts in marketing, it's highly unlikely that they're actually a marketer with expertise in lead gen for a small home improvement company.
Yeah, and our meta rep now too, why do we like him so much? Because he's blunt with us. He's honest. He doesn't always give us the company answer. He's like, all right, well, this is what they want me to say, but this is the reality. And the honesty and transparency goes a long way. And we're on the receiving end in that situation.
Yeah. So one of the things you haven't talked a lot about, Bill, but you've kind of dropped hints, is that we have a team that actually handles the appointment scheduling. So what would you say is the biggest mistake you see people making with their leads in that follow-up process? What's kind of Powrful Media's rule?
The benefit to what we do too is that we're on all the time. Every day except for Thanksgiving and Christmas, there's going to be somebody on your page for 18 hours. And it allows us to meet people when they want to be met. Just like we want to put ads out that are going to be received by our customers when they want to receive them, we want to be able to have conversations with potential customers when it's convenient. So that's a big thing, is the coverage. It's like you're getting, I don't want to do the math. I'm a marketing guy. I'm not going to do the math, but it's more than one full-time employee year round, basically around the clock. So it's a speed to lead thing. If you don't grab somebody when they're interested, it could be as little as 5 minutes and they're going to forget they even sent you the message to begin with. So having our team on your page or on the phone for you at so many hours of the day just reduces the opportunity for the customer to lose interest. It goes back to the other thing too, is that we're real humans. There's so many bots out there and AI and automations that people get tired of it. It's sometimes a relief to hear a human on the other end of the line, and it's not a company that you call and you're going to get a machine that says press 1 for this, press 2 for that. It's going to be Lee or Angie or Dalton answering the phone and representing your company. So yeah, I think the biggest mistake in terms of follow-up is not having a process. We also have processes set up to follow up with people. The number of people we have on our team and the automations we do have in place allow us to touch a customer multiple times per day for days at a time. If somebody reaches out with interest, they're a yes until they're a no. And our team is very good at ensuring we reach out and say, hey, wanted to make sure you're still interested, or checking in, we can get you on the calendar tomorrow. We know life happens. Sometimes you send a message, you start a conversation, and then your kid falls down and scrapes his knee and you have to go patch that up. And then all of a sudden 2 hours go by, you don't look at your phone and you don't realize you're even in a conversation until later that evening when our team says, hey, just wanted to make sure that you're still with us. We want to help you, in any way possible. If somebody's interested in a garage coating, there's so many things in life that happen that give them an opportunity to forget about it. But we want to make sure that we help each customer achieve their goal too.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I did the quick math, right? It's 3.15 FTE. Okay. Our team covers the equivalent of 3 full-time employees for you on your page. Pretty valuable.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I know. So we've been chatting for a while about boring stuff. But Bill, I hear that you're somewhat of a TikTok star. You got a side gig going on that you need to tell me more about?
Tell us about the cheese, man. We want to hear about the cheese.
There's been a lot of talk in pre-show about the cheese. So yeah, I do have a personal TikTok account that it started off just anytime I thought of something, I would post just random. One was about the NCAA tournament last year. Before that, I got a few of my dogs. Nothing too special. And then it turned into one night I was recording. I actually thought of a series idea because my wife can take some of the credit here too. Most of my TikTok now is about food, and that's a universal relation with people. Either they like what you're eating or they don't like what you're eating. They agree with you, they don't disagree with you, but everybody has a take on food. But I do a lot of things with food that my wife thinks is either really, really weird or really, really gross. So I'm like, all right, things I do with food that my wife thinks is gross or weird. And one of them was melting cheese on a plate. Just sometimes when you want a snack, you take a handful of shredded cheese and throw it on a plate, melt it and eat it. That's legitimately all I did. I don't even think I said another word, and it skyrocketed. And it's real life. It's not, I don't overproduce anything. I record it right in the TikTok app. I do a quick little edit in TikTok's editing thing and put it out there. But I really think what it is being able to relate to people. And that kind of encapsulates everything we've been talking about, from my work with our clients to our team conversing with potential customers to our clients, or my personal TikTok account. It's being genuine, being relational, and in my case, being controversial with food.
Yeah. Who melts cheese?
Yeah. Well, my first one was just eating a kiwi without peeling it. And you can do it if you can get over the texture, good fiber in the kiwi skin. No, but
I might be with your wife on that one, Bill. That one's weird.
See, and there it is. That is where I think the success lies, is because it gives people an opportunity to take a side, but it's not polarizing and political. It's about eating a kiwi with the skin on. Or my most recent one involved hot dogs. So I think that one's only popular because I got to use the hashtag wieners because they're Oscar Mayer wieners. But it has nothing to do with, is a hot dog a sandwich or not. I avoided that completely. But people eat hot dogs in so many different ways. It just opens up opportunity for a flurry in the comments section. So yeah, it's kind of been a whirlwind. It was weird not having any following and then waking up one morning and having 300 likes and 400 comments come through your feed, but definitely not a professional. I wouldn't consider myself a star, but I have fun with what I do. And I think that's key. It doesn't feel like work to me when I'm on my lunch break recording one, or, it's Sunday after the Vikings get blown out and I want to improve my mood. So I get to eat food and record myself doing it.
Yeah. I got one really good you can try. I got a buddy of mine who he has what he calls I think he calls it redneck nachos or trailer nachos. And it's when there's no tortillas in the house, or tortilla chips, he uses saltine crackers and everything. Puts them in the microwave and, shredded cheese on top of it. He swears they're good. And every time he eats them, I look at him like he's a maniac. I'm like, dude, just go to the store and there's a store right there. Just go to the store. I'll give you $10. Go get a store. Yeah. So I'm sure you'll get a click or two on that.
Yeah, I appreciate the innovation. Awesome. And honestly, on my cheese video, what you don't realize is people come out of the woodwork. So when I do weird food combos, there are so many comments that are, I didn't realize I wasn't the only one, or I'm glad I'm not alone, or I've never thought of that. That's genius. But then there's other people, like the cheese one makes me laugh so much. They're like, dude, you got to try that on chips. I'm like, I was 200 pounds in 5th grade. You think I haven't tried that? But yeah, and honestly, when you said cheese on saltine crackers, I bet I could find comments with that exact thing. And that's the nice thing too, is I don't even have to come up with content ideas anymore. I just use the comments section. I'm like, I'll try that now. Respond to that comment. And there's people, it's nice because there's a lot of weirdos out there and life would be boring without it. I'm one of them. I'm well aware, but it keeps life fun, and it helps build relationships, because now I know a lot of people on TikTok that maybe I'm not as weird as my wife thinks I am.
Yeah, that's right.
You probably are, but there's just others like you out there. What's your TikTok so people can follow you?
So it's just Bill. That's all my TikTok is, but the handle is Biff Kim.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Well, with all 10 listeners that we have on this YouTube channel, this podcast, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of likes and follows. But definitely, listeners, go check out the cheese video. I think it might be, is it pinned to the top?
It is pinned to the top next to a mac and cheese with ketchup video and a grape nuts and chocolate milk. I don't know. There's a lot of grape nuts content too. I had one person suggest something with grape nuts, so I bought a box, and then I'm like, what am I going to do with the rest of these grape nuts? But the comments section did it for me.
Besides just throw it in the garbage.
Yeah. Awesome. My favorite part about that is like, oh no, grape nuts is in my algorithm. I'm that old.
Start getting AARP commercials, sponsored ads. That's great.
There you go.
Well, Bill, it's been great to have you on the show. Appreciate what you do here at Powrful. Appreciate your wisdom and your experience. Any last bit of advice that you just be willing to impart with for our listeners pertaining to how they can really leverage the opportunities on social media and Google?
First off, if anybody tells you that they know what's going to happen on social media tomorrow, they're full of it. Nobody knows. You can use the data, you can use the history, you can use your knowledge to make the best educated hypothesis, guess, whatever you want to call it, that you can, and steer your ship in the right direction. But there are some waves that are unpredictable. So I really think it's just staying on your toes, paying attention to what's happening, and don't get discouraged if there's a bad day. Where there's so many ebbs and flows, specifically in digital marketing, but social media even more, that if you're running at a clip where you have, $10 messages and $15 leads for 2 weeks, and the next week it doubles, it's not the end of the world. Pay attention, but be patient all at the same time, and don't be afraid to spend money. I know it's scary, but I have a circle of friends in the gambling world, fantasy sports sort of things, and one thing that we hear a lot is scared money don't make money. So I think what that translates to in life too is you get out what you put in, whether it's effort or finances or persistence, whatever you want to call it. Is you get out what you put in, and I think that's true with what we do as well.
That's excellent. Cool. Well, thank you. And to all of our listeners, if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, ring the bell. We have a TikTok as well. Give the Fitz and Franson Show a like on TikTok and go check Bill out. So until next time, see you guys later.
Happy hunting.